give us roll call.
Robert Bronowski. Present. Peter Hernandez. Elizabeth Martinez.
Here.
Patricia Moore.
Yes, sir.
Jose Rodriguez. One absent.
Thank you. Now we're going to salute the flag. Please stand. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next thing on the agenda, the only thing on the agenda, and I get an approval of the agenda. So moved. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Now we'll go on to discussion action item, approval of the purchase and the sale of real property and joint escrow instructions. I'll leave that to Mr. Elias.
Good afternoon, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Andrew. So what you have in front of you is the agreement for purchase and sale of real property and escrow instructions for a piece of property in St. Anna Ranch, where the school district intends to build a TK through 8 school. It's about 12 acres of land up on Sunny Slope and Fairview at, I'll say it's the northeast corner. The major terms of the contract being the district is paying $5 million for the piece of land that we are purchasing from the trust in the name of Larry and Georgiana Anderson, who are also the owners of Anderson Homes, the owners of the property. So we're paying $2 million for the land itself. That's for the actual piece of land. Pre-development services of 1.876, and what that includes, and then a major portion of that are actually mitigation credits. So what those are, when you have types of development in California, you have to purchase these credits that are essentially the intent is to kind of mitigate the environmental harm that they do. So you're disturbing dirt, you're disturbing the land, there are all kinds of critters, creatures in that land.
Chemicals.
And, right, so in order to sort of make up for that, you have to buy these credits that my understanding is equates to another piece of land somewhere else that'll be preserved. So that's actually the most expensive piece of that. The next part is fill dirt for 1.124. So the slope on the piece of property itself is kind of steep. So what we're gonna have to do is kind of make this graded plan. The only way to really do that is to bring in dirt from another source so that we can have the grades at the right level so that, you know, our property meets the street line. It's about 45,000 cubic, 45,000 cubic.
A lot.
Or dirt,
A
yes.
lot of dirt.
Where were they putting the dirt from the development that they had to the right side of the lot?
They were carting it off, just.
No, they're using it because our slope is the same as what their slope was before they started building, so they had to tier it as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
So so the cost of the actual dirt itself plus the cost of Anderson to move the dirt over to someplace close to our site.
So we're paying them to bring in dirt?
Yes.
Way cheaper.
Yes.
Way cheaper than buying dirt from someplace else and having them truck it in.
Right, and one big reason why it's actually less expensive for us to do it that way is because we've already tested the land out there.
Yeah.
So we know everything that's in the soil, so we don't have to go get other independent testing. We know what kind of dirt it is, and we also have to get approval from the various state agencies to bring stuff in. And since that dirt's already been tested, we don't have to go through that process again.
But Gabe, this is dirt that they moved in order to build homes, correct? So,
No, it's not anything they've moved yet.
okay.
I don't know. I frankly don't know if they ever intended to move it anywhere else. I'm not sure. All I know is in order for us to get it, at least from Anderson, it will cost us 1.124.
Do they guarantee it's good dirt?
Yes, yes. it's outlined the type of dirt, the dirt's been tested, so we know it is the dirt that we need.
And the amount that you need.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my only point being is this dirt that they would, I mean,
Otherwise have to get rid of it.
right, exactly, and then, yet they want to charge us for it.
I can't speak to that, I don't know.
I-
I mean, it's,
But what we've had to go through for them to provide dirt and then having to find the dirt, I would say no. This has been something that has really been a major negotiating point for the last 6 months. If this is gonna be our land, you need to make it buildable.
Right.
And they were like, so we don't know where to get the dirt, maybe. And where it was bought in, I mean, this was a lot of work to get, because we wanted dirt from our own backyard, so we didn't have to truck it in and then have it retested. It would have been much, much more expensive, so. We're
Yeah.
telling them you have to make this a level playing field for us.
Right.
Yeah, and knowing that we're willing to pay for dirt in our own backyard, but we didn't want to have to truck it in and pay twice, 3 times as much.
you know, and they're making accommodations even for us to be able to use this much. I mean, they have to actually lower Santana Ranch Road by a few feet in order for us to be able to even use that amount of dirt to get the grades right.
So they had to go back into their plan to accommodate for us on the road. And we also we don't want our tiers to be 7-foot tiers. We want our tiers to be like 3-foot tiers, because that's what's better for kids, right? We don't want the smaller the tiers, the better for injury, safety, all of that. So that was more dirt.
We'll get back to us and keep it going to the.
JT does, and we've had several people estimate that. He's been a part of this from the get-go. They've been out there, talked with Anderson's engineers, our own engineers, the State Department engineers, so that, you know.
I look at this and remember in our expectation was that we would get this land for free. Now we're paying $5 million for it. You know, I'm a firm believer that this enhances the value of the property value, because everybody would love if this to be in Santana Ranch, be able to walk to this beautiful new school. I mean, right? And it just seems that $5 million price tag bugging me, especially when I see it, how they're trying to position it, all things in. But anyway,
They wanted us to pay $12 million for the land. To 1.8 for the development fees, 1.1 for the dirt. And so we've gone down $10 million.
this all goes back to the problem way back when, before any of us were here.
Right. So can I do just a little bit of a bird walk on that? We got a call the other day from a developer that said, hey, we were down at the planning office and they said you've already located 4 sites for 4 schools and we're planning on developing one of those. They said we needed to meet with you. So good news that now that we've put it out there, and we've been working with the county and the city, it is coming into play. And the developer we were straight up with the developer, well, what do you expect? We expect you to give us the land, like you do in other communities. So.
Okay.
So
So as far as who did this contract?
So this was really a joint effort with myself, John Scalia, and our council.
Our council to bless this
Oh, yes.
entirely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if there is an issue with a piece of expectation that we have from Anderson, we have a solid foundation as to be able to use this contract to get what we need.
Yes.
We need to sue, is what I'm saying.
Yes, and we've been very thorough with every
The land purchase, the last thing we want is for one hiccup or something, and then,
Right,
oh, man. You know,
Runs down the hill.
Physically. Yeah, you know, the roads going to the school, you know, every consideration taken into what it means to put a school at that location.
yes, so we've
Fire, water,
Mhm. Yes, we've been very thorough with all that to make sure that we have everything in here, everything that we need. You know, and we've obviously spent a lot of FaceTime with Anderson to make sure that, you know, we both, you know, have the same expectations and the same understandings with respect to everything that's in this contract. So I'm very confident that we're not gonna have any issues moving forward.
What happens if we never build a school?
what happens if we never build the school?
It's our land.
So we can sell it at market value and develop homes on it?
No.
Yeah,
So-
I'm reading that.
Yeah, so there will be a warranty that goes along with the land. That is for a period of 5 years after construction of the school. Anderson's concerns were, you know, a situation where, you know, they sell or land someone who they feel has the intention to do one thing, they turn around and sell it to, at a profit to one of their competitors, and obviously creates issues for them. So part of this was saying, okay, you know, for a certain period, no, you know, we're not going to sell the land. We're not going to, you know, use it for any other kind of commercial development. You know, we're going to use it for a school. So we're not able to just.
But 10 years go by, 5 years go by, and we, for whatever reason, the economy blows up, population goes down, we don't build a school, we can't get the funds to build a school, whatever. So we own a piece of land, and what can we do with it then?
We have, the warranty runs for 5 years on the land.
Okay?
So we have 5 years, I believe the specific language is we have 5 years from, actually, yeah, 5 years from construction of the school. So if the school never gets built, that's,
Here. I never know when we're moving.
so if the school never gets built, at that point, we, you know, we'll contact council and try to figure out what we have to do. It's not, even if land is free and clear, it's not as simple as even just going out and selling land as a school district. So there's a lot involved.
But it, well, again, I'm not an attorney, not a land use expert, but like when Christopher High was built, they had the land donated to them, but then they decided on a different site, so they got to sell that land and then buy new land with it. Gavilan College owns a large piece of land across from Ridgemark, or actually the high school would be a better example. They own 2 big pieces of property, and they're free to sell it, and you know, and that's what I want to make sure that we're in a position for. We're writing a check for $5 million. We never build a school. We need to be able to recoup it.
Right.
What section is it in?
That is section.
I guess what I'm saying is it's not uncommon for this to happen.
Right. Okay, I'm sorry, it's on page 3, warranty on future use for a period of 5 years after the construction of the school. Buyer warrants that the property may only be used for school district purposes. Warranty shall survive the close of escrow. So in this case,
Why do we have to promise
so.
developers what we're using the property for?
So it was the developer's concern that, essentially we could do that, just purchase the land and then sell it at a higher price to one of their competitors. Now, we're not really allowed to do that, but that was a concern, which is why they wanted this in here.
This They explained this to us when we had our face-to-face meeting with them. This was something that, was going back and forth. So when we sat down with them, if this is how I remember it. They had donated land to a church. And this actually happened to them, right? Donated land to a church. The church then turned around and sold, they did it out of good faith, this is what we want to give the church, and a donation we're adding to the community, there was this big hubbub about it, and then the church turned around and sold the property to a competitor, and that, that totally defeated their cause of donating and doing this good thing. So their concern is that, is all of that if we buy this land, and then, let's say the economy doesn't tank, but the economy all of a sudden goes up, then we turn around and sell it, and then someone else puts homes there. And that's the purpose of them being the landowner, them being the developer, and having that area. We told them, we need land to build a school.
Is council available to us right now? Also. The reason I
I'm not
ask
sure.
is this, because if you read this sentence, I'm gonna short it. This may only be used for public school district purposes. Doesn't say for a school,
Right.
right?
It's just our purpose. We could put a kitchen there, we can put a transportation yard there.
Or doesn't that mean that we can sell it? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Can you excuse? I mean, would it be worth it to go call council, because we're the buyer, and right, and we can argue all, or not we, but you guys can argue all day long that Anderson is it below market value or whatever. I don't sit here sitting here, but because we're paying $5 million, I'm just to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money. I'll say, you know what? If the school never gets built, I don't want to say that we just threw $5 million because all we have is a vacant piece of land, which again, even if we're vacant, it increases the value of every home around there because now you have this green space.
So, in reality, what in this situation would happen, is the court would look at the intent of the parties. And it was not I don't think either party contemplated where it says may only be used for school district purposes to mean for purposes of making money or profiting or selling the land. I think the intent of the parties there was to say for using it for something for the school district, like whether it's a school or kitchen facilities or whatever it is.
So if we happen to find another, like you were saying, we have other developments that are coming up, and we get solicited by one that says, okay, we'll give you some land to put your school on. Now we have, we haven't started building there, then we would have a choice of putting the new school at this location, or putting the new school, especially if we don't have to pay for the land here.
Yeah.
Would we still have that?
We would time out on bond. We have to start, our bond was passed for this, so the money that we have to build a school, we have timing with that of selling bonds, when we have to put shovels in the ground, when we have to show DSA that we have intent. And I can tell you, nobody's donating us land. For 12 acres of land to do a school within that time frame.
So just some background on it, because this particular clause was actually one of the last ones we finished because we went back and forth on this for so long. What it came down to in the end is, us, the district, recognizing that we are going to build a school there. We already have the design. We already have.
We've already sold bonds.
Yeah, we've already sold the bonds. We have, a design build firm in mind. So really, I mean, as soon as this is, finished up, we're going to move forward with construction. the amount of money we've already put into this land in terms of testing and making sure that we can build is huge. So,
It's close to $1 million then. 500,000?
yeah, I would have to double check it, but it could be reaching $1 million.
Which we had to do in order to make sure that the land was buildable. I mean, it's kind of like a catch-22. You have to do all of this so that you're like, yes, this is a good piece of land to buy to build a school. So, I mean, it's not like we got out ahead of ourselves. We had to do that.
Right, so this is, you know, in contract negotiations, this is a part that we said, okay, you know, we'll concede to some language because during the course of negotiations, this was a lot more favorable to them. So we were able to sort of get them to this and, you know, recognize ourselves that, hey, I mean, we've already invested so much into this. We already know that we're gonna do this, so,
Well,
I mean, is
the
this something we
community
want?
has approved a bond so that we can build it there, you know,
Oh.
and so,
Please don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
again, you have to understand it's not the irony, but it's a word like irony about this is the reason we're writing this check for $5 million is because some previous administration, some previous board before didn't sew up all the ends with the county and I guess Anderson Homes when that plan was originally approved, right? Because our expectation was, hey, we get the land for free, right? Because they didn't take a critical look at things.
Mhm.
So with this, I'm just going, a lot of things can happen. I mean, I raised a lot of money for a company and the CFO and all this other stuff, and then 9/11 occurred and technology dried up. The word purchase order said the company, you know, all but closed, right? Things happen. And again, the high school house, when they own the land that they do and never done anything, that little building out there.
Yeah, because the salamanders,
Right, I
you
mean,
know, they
and that's
didn't do their
because,
testing.
again,
And
people
we have
didn't do
done
their.
that. The salamanders are the mitigation, I'll have you know. So we've done it.
So, anyway, that's, you know, I get frustrated that, you know, has everybody thought, I mean, why am I just bringing this up right now? Why weren't a lot of these things, you know, maybe thought out? Because again, no school, how do we justify, and we can't do anything with it. That's the example that I have. And again, whereas Christopher High, my understanding from Don Christopher himself was, yeah, he goes, we donated the land and then they wanted it somewhere else, so they ended up selling it and stuff. But he didn't say that was an issue. He's just disappointed it wasn't his land. It was built on. And that land that sold is in fact become development, so it's very valuable. So that's where we're headed.
So I just want to provide some, and I think you said this, we have talked about this particular item for 6 months. And there's been a lot of thought put into it and a lot of discussion put into it and a lot of back and forth put into it. In the end, we looked at, you know, we can't be 100% sure of everything. But we've looked at there's very, 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 very high probability that we're gonna build a school there starting next week.
Literally next week.
No,
I mean-
the dirt's gonna be delivered tomorrow. That's why we're having a special board meeting.
Gotcha.
Okay, I mean, so that's, I, with that tight of a timeline, I think the school's gonna get built there, right? And we have a bond, and we've already sold bonds. And so we have so many indicators that point to this is happening. Because we've already set the ball in motion by having a bond passed, selling bonds, testing the dirt, measuring how many dump trucks of dirt we need, working with engineers, that we felt that the probability of this being an issue was very low.
Is and the school,
Is that fair to say?
the school, not the whole complex that we want, the
Right,
school itself, that is funded via the bond measure. There's enough money in the
Yes.
existing bond measure to build a school.
yes,
Not to staff it though, right?
yes. Well, when the kids pay for the staffing, right, because you get so much per student, right? The answer is yes.
So what about the, when I first heard about the bond, about the school, the Santana property, I heard $4 million. That was from Gary. So now this is $5 million, but that's maybe, I don't know, $4 million for the property.
Oh, the $2 million is the property, so what Gary was telling you was 4 million, we've gotten for 2. The other prices are for the dirt that we need, so that it's terraced appropriately, and going on to their mitigation license, because we don't wanna buy our own. That's even more money, so we negotiated to get onto their existing mitigation. And so that was cheaper for us.
Mitigation meaning like the EIR, the environmental.
All the environmental stuff,
So the-
disturbing dirt, critters, and chemicals, and so you have to pay mitigation credits for that.
So the filtered services, what is that?
So it's for them to move a certain patch of dirt onto the land so that we have the proper grades. Because right now the land's too steep, so we need to kind of terrace the land. And we need to terrace it so there aren't huge drops between each terrace.
Oh, I thought that's what the pre-development.
So those
No,
are
the
mitigation.
pre-development's the mitigation credits.
That's
But I can see, where you say
That makes
pre-development,
sense.
because it should
Got
be
it.
pre-development, you're right?
So pre-development is EIR and everything,
All the,
and
yeah,
then the filtered services is all the grading.
right.
So the filter, does that mean they're just gonna go in and dump the dirt and we gotta take care of the grading, that's on us?
Yes, because the issue with that is that Anderson's not constructing the school. So what
We
we,
don't want them to terrace it.
right, so what we need to do is we need to get the design finalized. And then that design build firm is then gonna go in and take care of that piece, because it needs to be exactly how it is in the
So
design.
for us, so we want to do that,
Okay.
so that it's matching up with what our plans are, our construction company says, our engineers say. So that
Was
we have,
that cost already incorporated into the bill?
Yes,
So why are they moving dirt tomorrow?
they need notification tomorrow so they can move dirt sometime really shortly.
Why?
because it's
Yeah.
ready.
Something, yeah, because wherever it is, they need to, I guess, make plans to amend their development agreement.
It's a
so they can
domino
get-
effect.
Yeah, so they can get moving on their other
Right,
stuff
that's,
for their planning.
see, again, I just like things ultra crisp, and, it sounds like they're doing this to make us feel good about what we're paying for it, but the fact of the matter is, they need to move the dirt so that they can be building homes. We're actually doing them a favor. Or it's a mutual benefit, but that's why we're in a hurry.
Well, right, I mean, if not, they were gonna use the dirt for whatever it is they were doing. But like I said, part of the DA, I mean, they have to lower roads and do all kinds of other stuff to accommodate all of this. And they, they have their own building schedule. So in order to be able to do what it is they're doing, they have to know whether or not we need that dirt.
Because they have timelines they have to maintain per the county agreement. I mean, and so they have, and that's what we're butting up against. I mean, when we started negotiations 6 months ago, we thought we would be done in a couple of months, but we've been very meticulous and very meticulous about the price and very meticulous about what we thought we should pay for dirt and about how much dirt, and we need this road to come down and we need this to come down. So there was many negotiation points that's taken us much longer. And now we're up against their construction timeline and what they have to deliver to the county and the city per their agreement.
Okay. All right, I just,
It's good questions, yeah.
well, because again.
We've been living in it for 6 months, so we know this frontwards and backwards. You haven't. So you need, I mean,
But I have been looking through a real estate transaction that I worked on before I got here, and that Peter's gonna help me with. Right
so
after.
I told you, didn't I tell you, he's just going through a house.
Yeah.
I told Gabe, so Rob may be thinking houses, so.
So the
No,
road
but-
to go into our school, who would have to build build that road?
So the road itself is actually being built by Anderson.
They-
And that's part of why they
Is that
need
part
to
of
do
this
it
fee?
now.
That's part of this fee.
No,
No,
that's
that's
part of
their- they
their
have-
agreement
their-
with the county.
County.
But they need to know,
Because I don't want
Where
to
and
get
what
a bill from
type?
the county for putting in
You
the
want-
Togog Road into our school
No.
later
No.
on. I don't want any surprises from the county, is what I'm
No.
saying.
that is all part of their development agreement. They need to actually build the road, so they just need to know
How
where
tall to make it,
how
where to
tall
put
to
it.
make that. And they're actually making the, little entry points off the road.
Right.
So not only the road, but also the easements in
Yes.
Okay.
So those are gonna be handled by,
by them.
So, Gabe, do you, lack of a better term, represent Warren, that there will not be any deed restrictions on this? How many acres is it? 12 acres that restrict us from doing anything on it. Because again, reading this wording here, used for public school district purposes. I own a piece of property, I need some cash. If I sell that property to get the cash, I've used it for my purposes, right? If the school district has a piece of property and it needs cash, to me, selling that property is for the purpose of the Hollister School District. So that's my interpretation of it. What I don't want to see, and I am going to ask for a copy of it when this closes, is the title report that shows that there's no restrictions on what we can do on that piece of property.
right,
So that, again, I hear you, I know we're gonna build a school, I absolutely do. But I also knew that this company I raised a bunch of money for was going to succeed up until 9/11 occurred.
so,
We have 12 acres, right?
So can you just promise me that?
I will have to double check to see this specifically how they wanted to enforce this. If this was, to be on the deed, or if this was to be contractual. My understanding was this was to be restriction on the deed itself, saying that for that 5-year period, it has to be used for school district purposes.
We're good for active construction of the school, what if we never build the school? See, that's what,
Right,
We have.
And-
see, this is why I wish we had council here. 'cause-
right, so, and I can speak to that piece, so, you know,
Gotta get something for money.
right, any,
Otherwise, we'd have to pay back the bond that we've already
Yeah.
spent.
right, so
Yeah.
at any time, you know, you're negotiating something like this, you have to, you know, first take all the facts into consideration. And also, you know, both parties, you know, just by the nature of negotiations, make concessions somewhere. So this was something, I mean, the original, like I said, was much more favorable to them. When we kept going back and forth on this, you know, we looked at it, okay, you know, what we put in the land, we know we're gonna build this school, so does this really matter to us if this is in here like this? So after a month, we said, you know, the way we see it, it doesn't, because we're going to build the school, we have the money, we have the design, we have everything we need, we're moving forward with it. So as soon as that school's built, that clock starts ticking, and then it won't be an issue. I mean, that's how we were seeing it.
Okay, so 341 Kyle Miramar, my first apartment in the Riviera area of Torrance Beach, right across the street, but it's Parkland School. Parkland School is now condos because Torrance School District no longer, Redondo Beach School District never reached it, or closed it. Just to make sure it's, yeah, I think it's not unreasonable to say that this can't be a recorded deed restriction. And again, it's not because they just closed the house, but another home they own had a pedestrian easement for a school. And, you know, that was consistently enforced. Why? Because it was a deed restriction. So that's why. And also, did we resolve the naming of the school?
There's a committee.
There it
But ultimately, it's our decision.
According to our our board policy here.
I didn't know there was a committee.
Yeah, no, it's in there, I read that.
Oh.
It just wasn't clear, final decision maker, so. Yeah.
It's somebody from this.
We have board policy, we have board policy. That talks about, there's board policy about this.
Okay.
I don't know the board policy by heart. What does it say?
A couple of factors are, there's a criteria, there's about 6 different things you have to go through to create or naming of the school. So there's about 6.
Our agreement was they would be on the committee. They're gonna have a voice, they'll be on the committee.
In this contract here, nowhere does it state that it is a deed recording that it must be schools that.
It does not state explicitly, no.
So I guess what I'm asking is, before we approve this, before I rely on it, we get some assurance that it won't be, because if it's not in the contract, why would it be?
Right.
So what I'm saying is, will the administration make sure that it's not?
We will do our due diligence in that.
I think it's important. Just a tiny little thing, but it could be major if something bad happens.
We need to protect
That's what we
ourselves.
need. This is watching out for the taxpayers. It's not, I don't personally want in this fight. I want the school to be built with the land. But, some of these things out is stuff that the county and the school districts should have been doing for the past 50 years.
No faults, there's no other issue, you know.
We've had it all
Others-
checked
oh,
out.
yeah, we spent a
There's certain
significant
things-
amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've spent a
Okay.
significant amount of money making sure that that land is usable for a school.
Okay.
Any more questions? Good. Then I'll move that we approve the agreement between the purchase and the sale of real property and escrow instructions between Larry W. Anderson and Georgianne M. Anderson, trustees for the lease dated Larry W. Anderson, Georgianne W. Anderson, Revocable Trust, Family Trust, dated August 9th, 2004, and Hollister School District. Is there a second? Second. Rob? You vote yes.
Oh, aye. Yes.
Aye. Peter?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
There we go.
We're gonna go to school.
Yep.
Are there? That's it. How about a motion to adjourn?
So,
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Thank you.
Yay, so at the June 12th Board of Supervisors meeting, we'll also be voting, we're being told to change the plan so that the park can be built into the
do they have money to build the park?
Anderson built it. So it'll be.
Wait. So Anderson's gonna give them money to build the park?
No, Anderson as part of the development has to build a park.
Part of the CA.
They made sure they got a park out of the development.
How much is the city?
I remember, yeah.
They were only looking out for themselves back then.
Yes.
Yeah,
And that's smart. But that was almost 20 years ago. I mean,
county land.
It's a photo.
So that's exciting.